Hey guys, Hades here. Today we're going to do another random video. Not live. I'm doing this on my computer by myself with a microphone. This is random 4. It's not going to be live. My classes are already done. Don't know if I have other classes to do stuff live. I did random 3 completely live, and I didn't do another version of it. This one is random 4. This is going to be random 4A. I'm going to divide it into 2 parts because it's a little long. What have we talked about in past random socials? What do you think we're going to talk about today? What would you prefer to talk about? What do you do randomly? When Jason finishes washing clothes, he needs to hang them up to dry. He picks them up randomly in no particular order, right? Just grabbing whatever. Do you think that life is a series of random events, or do you believe that everything happens for a reason? What is destiny? Destiny is basically fate. It's the belief that our lives are predetermined and there is nothing we can do to stop it. We make our own choices, but we were destined to make those choices. Everything's predetermined, right? Everything's going to happen the way it's going to happen. Even if you think you're making choices, you were destined. You were supposed to make those choices. The opposite of that would be that we decide what happens in our lives. We make choices. There is no destiny, right? The choices we make are valid and they shape our lives. And so this is a question I'll pose to a class. This is not a live class, so you just think about this yourself. Do you believe that everything is decided for us or that we make our own luck? What do you think? Here's another random image. I've said this before, when I put images in here, I type in random image, then I pick one. So it's partially random, but not exactly. And I like this one, right? Gives a definition of random. Made, done, happening, or chosen without method or conscious decision. And I like what they put at the bottom here. Today, use random correctly in a sentence. Hint, things you don't understand and jokes that you don't get are not random. That's a little jab at, poking fun at people who misuse the word random. And you'll hear people do that a lot, especially maybe younger people. The word random is misused quite a bit. Remember, random is something that is not chosen. It's not in any order. Okay, some vocabulary. What is a lycanthrope? What is an agnostic? What does misanthropic mean? And what does penniless mean? A lycanthrope is a person who involuntarily, or sometimes voluntarily, changes into the shape of an animal. The werewolf is a lycanthrope that changes to a wolf form during a full moon. Of course, this is not real, but there is something called clinical lycanthropy, and that is when someone believes that they're an animal or believes they change into an animal. It's actually a psychological condition. But real lycanthropes don't exist, and we'll actually talk a little bit more about them in a little bit. Okay, agnostic, right? Basically, it's about what people believe. An atheist does not believe in the existence of God. A theist believes in the existence of God or gods. An agnostic does not know or claims to have no knowledge about the existence of a god or God. Right? So an atheist would say there is no God. A theist would say there is a God or gods. And an agnostic would say, I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't really know. Misanthropic is an adjective used to describe a person who hates mankind or all people. And there's an example here. After he spent many years being tortured in prison, he developed misanthropic views of the world. So basically, if you're misanthropic, you do not like people. And from the root words penny and less, this word means to not have a penny, to be broke or have no money, right? Penniless. The homeless man was penniless. Random image here. Again, right, I just type in random image, I find one, and I put it on here. So it's partially random. Okay, some more vocabulary. This is monster vocabulary. And if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, we got a Balrog right there on the right. But we don't talk about Balrogs here today. What is a vampire? What is a zombie? What is a ghost? What is a werewolf? What is a goblin? What is a mummy? What is a doppelganger? And what is a Jason? The last one's a little bit of a joke. Now keep in mind these are all fictional, not real. A vampire is an undead creature that was once human. The vampire needs human blood to sustain himself. There are many variations on ways to kill it, but usually sunlight works. And sometimes they're afraid of religious symbols like a crucifix. And also maybe a stake through the heart. These are all traditional. Vampires have become very popular in fiction. And of course, different writers of vampire fiction sometimes have different ways to kill them. A zombie is also an undead creature, neither living nor dead, right? It's basically a reanimated corpse that wants to eat living humans, usually shooting them in the brain or puncturing their skull will kill them in movies. Again, these are all fictional, right? So it depends on who's making the movie, how you can kill them. Usually, right, headshot will do it. They're not as smart as vampires. They don't think, they just want to eat people. A ghost is the spirit or soul of a dead person. Usually it will haunt a place or person and cannot take on physical form. Some people believe in ghosts. Well, I guess some people believe in vampires and zombies as well, but more people believe that ghosts are real. But I don't know, in films, they're hard to kill because they don't have a physical form. And technically, they're already dead, right? Yeah, and most people who believe in ghosts, and there are real living people who believe in ghosts, usually they believe the ghost can't really hurt them because they're also, you can't kill it, but it can't kill you either. I don't know. I don't believe in ghosts. Werewolves. I told you we'd be talking about this again. A werewolf is a man that changes, or a woman, that changes into a wolf, usually involuntarily whenever there is a full moon. Silver through the heart will usually kill a werewolf. That's why in werewolf movies they often make a silver bullet to kill them. So silver hurts werewolves, I guess, if... again, look, it's a fictional creature. Different people creating these monsters, they might have different ways to kill them because it's their story, right? They're creating it. Yeah, werewolves are lycanthropes, right? And some people believe in other lycanthropes like were-rats or were-foxes, people who can turn into other animals besides just wolves. Also, in fiction, the werewolves are very different. Some of them turn into a wolf, while others of them turn into a bipedal or humanoid type wolf creature that can walk on two legs, and it's not exactly a wolf. It depends on the story. A goblin is an evil, grotesque, and mischievous dwarf-like creature that preys on humans. Usually it can be killed in any way you could kill a person. In most stories, goblins are mortal, right? They're maybe evil creatures, but you could kill them, like you could kill a person, right? Shoot it through the head or the heart will usually do the trick. Anything that would kill a person would probably kill a goblin. They're not supernaturally exempt from some ways to die. A mummy is a person whose body has been preserved long after death. Also, it is undead and it's, reanimated like a zombie. There are different theories on how to kill them. It depends on who wrote the book or made the movie. Although they're very much like zombies, usually they look more like zombies, but they're often smart like vampires, and they're harder to kill than the random zombie. A doppelganger is a creature who can transform to look like anyone. Some believe that every person has a doppelganger or another person who looks exactly like them somewhere on Earth. So one definition of a doppelganger is someone who looks like you. But, for the supernatural type doppelganger, usually it's a creature that could take on the form of a human and maybe misrepresent that person. Often, I don't know, like if you play Dungeons and Dragons, a doppelganger is a monster that will kill someone and then take on their appearance so people don't know that that person's been killed. A Jason is a horrible monster that can pass for a human. He usually devours web students while they are studying, often picking out students that don't like his socials. Jason cannot be killed. Of course, Jason is my name. I go by Hades on this channel, and I didn't change this old PowerPoint to represent Hades. So those are old pictures of me when I used to live in Wuhan. On the one on the left is a couple students. That was right before I left. And there's an earlier Halloween, the one on the right. I quite liked Halloween, and I did every Halloween activity when I was in training schools. No, I'm not really a monster. Random image. Yeah, some guy having fun in the shower, I guess. Okay, the part you've all been waiting for, some grammar. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you're about to stop watching. All right, anyhow, it's grammar time. In all these random PowerPoints, I have a grammar section. All right, what is a verb? What is a transitive verb? What is an intransitive verb? What is a ditransitive verb? And what is an avalant verb? Okay, so when I ask those questions, you could pause the video and go look for yourself. Up to you. Maybe you just want to learn. You're too lazy to look things up. It will help you learn a bit better if you do that, but it's up to you. You decide how you want to learn. A verb is a word that depicts an action or occurrence, usually. If it does not, then it's known as an auxiliary verb, such as the following: be, am, are, is, was, were, do, does, did, have, has, had, etc. Right? So normally a verb is an action word. An intransitive verb is one that does not need an object. So object, subject, verb, object. You might have learned in a sentence, right? So the intransitive verbs don't need an object. John sleeps, period. That's a full sentence. Or John slept, right? Mary eats very well, right? We don't need very well in that sentence. We could just say Mary eats. Those are intransitive verbs. We do not need an object. A transitive verb needs an object, but just one. John killed Jason, right? John, subject, killed, verb, Jason, object. My friend read the newspaper, right? Friend, subject, read, object, or read, verb, newspaper, object. Transitive verbs. A ditransitive verb needs a direct object and an indirect object. John gave Mary a flower. So John, subject, gave, verb, Mary, direct object, flower, indirect object. You cannot just say John gave Mary, right? You need something else, right? Okay, she thinks her parents are wealthy people. Now, she, that's going to be the subject. Thinks is the verb. Parents, direct objects, and people, indirect object, right? So that's a ditransitive verb. It has two objects. It needs a direct object and an indirect object. Avalant verbs have neither a subject nor an object, right? They're verbs you could use without a subject or an object. Can you think of any avalant verbs? That was a trick question. There are none. There are no avalant verbs in English. However, other languages, including Mandarin and Spanish, have avalant verbs. Don't ask me for examples because I don't speak Chinese and I don't know any of them in Spanish. I don't really speak Spanish either. I just know a few phrases, really. Very minimal Spanish. But now I read this and I told a class this, and in China, and some of my students said no, there are no avalant verbs in Chinese. So I don't know. I just read this somewhere. They said they have avalant verbs, but other students said there were. I don't know. I can't comment on it much. I teach English. I don't teach Chinese or Spanish. There are no avalant verbs in English. Okay, random image. Like I said earlier, right? I type in random image and then I just pick one. So here's a random image that we're going to stop on for this. Pretty soon I'll release 4B and we'll start here because these are long lessons, but if I'm not doing them live, I don't need to do a whole hour, right? And I'm shortening them to where the two classes will be less than an hour anyway. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. Hope you look forward to part B. Thank you. Bye-bye.